Good morning everyone, it's Mish here, and today I thought we would work a little bit in our Daphne diary glue book. This is a book that was created from a cereal box, and we have done already a number of pages in it. If you haven't seen the previous videos, then I'll try to link them below and you can check them out. So I thought we would do some stamps today. So in issue 3, 2023, there's a page where you can design your own stamps, and then you can cut them out. One kind of comment is I feel that it might have been better if these had been stickers, and then you could design them and peel them off. But they're not. So I thought that we would take bits and pieces from the magazine and just create our stamps. So I looked through the magazine for some background paper, and I couldn't find anything that I liked. So I thought I just went to my paper stash and just found this paper that I thought kind of went well, the colors, the blues, from one side to another. So I thought maybe we would have this as our background. And then what we're going to do is create a storage organizer for our stamps so that we can put them in like a stamp book. I got the idea from this book, which I happened to get at the thrift store, and it's quite large. It's probably a legal size, maybe, I don't know how big it measures. It measures 8 3/4 by almost a foot, 12 inches. And when I first saw this, the reason that I pulled it out was because I was doing some collage and thought that there would be some good sports pages here. But when I opened it up, to my delight, it is full of stamps. So I was just amazed, and I'm still kind of speechless of all the stamps that are in this book. And I got it for $5.99 Canadian, so $6. But when I was looking at this, and then I was thinking about these stamp pages, I thought, well, let's make a stamp organizer like this, where we can slot our stamps in so that we can pull them out later and use them throughout our diary. So, or our journal. So I'm just going to pull this out without wrecking everything. And we'll work on the back of this one. So I'm gonna, before I tack that down, I think we'll just play with the stamps. So if you have seen the previous videos, you'll know that I just take all kinds of clippings and I save every little piece of scrap because there's so much going on in the background of pages that it's a waste to not use it all. I had one comment that somebody said, oh, they find it just so hard to, alter or cut up the magazine, and I do too. But I love the magazine so much that I really did want to honor it by, making this journal. And the thing with the journal is I'm taking out some of the best bits that I like, that I can kind of pull the journal out and just look at it in future, if I'm feeling down or something. So I'm just going to set this aside. I have a very small workspace here. So, which I'll almost put that on the floor. Right, so I've already dug out some bits and pieces. These ones here came from some of the paper pads that I had bought through Daphne's diary, and I have mentioned them in the past, and I thought these were scrapbook paper pages, like bigger pages, but they are just scrapbook pad. And so I've used some of these already in one of the pages that we've made. So there's just some offcuts that I have. So I kind of thought, and this one here almost matched up perfectly. So let's go ahead and start Just need to pull this a bit closer. We're having a heat wave. We're starting to have a heat wave here in Atlantic Canada. And I'll tell you, it's just crazy with the humidity. I've never needed a air conditioner. There have been days in the summers that, you know, have been where we've had a heat wave, but because we've had so much consistent hot weather, I ran out and got an air conditioner. It's just too much. And then this one here, I thought would go great on for a backing on this one. So let's get that down. So it's now July, I think it's July 20th. And we still have a good 6 weeks of summer here. So I think that the air conditioner is really going to earn its keep. So this one here, this piece here was a piece of one of those birds. I'll tell you, those things have come in so handy. I think maybe we could put that on there. So that's not a straight edge, just make a straight edge there. So what's the weather like where you guys live? In Canada, in Nova Scotia, we tend to have, in the past, we've had quite cold winters. It can get, you know, down to, if we had a cold spell, it could get down to like minus 35 maybe. That's Celsius. This last couple winters, it's not been that bad at all. I think we had one little cold spell last year, maybe two. And then we've had maybe 3 episodes of where we've had to shovel snow. So, and shoveling snow is not fun, especially when it's a mild day, so that there's a lot of water and moisture in the snow, and every shovel load is like, to me, it's like 100 pounds. It's not 100 pounds, but it's just a lot. So I look forward to winters when there's not that much snow, and I look forward to summers that are temperate nowadays. So yesterday, I think the temperature was 28, but it felt like 35. And with the humidity, that's what drives up the feel like factor. Okay, so we've got some of those. I found this little one, and I thought this might go good as the stamp, as a stamp. So we'll get it cut to size and glue it down, and then we'll see what it looks like. She's I thought she was a flamenco dancer, but she might be something else. I'm not sure. I love getting into the craft room and playing. It's something so therapeutic about spending time in the craft room. That is for sure. So that's pretty good. Could have made it a little bit less, a little bit bigger, but we'll follow that line there. But we don't want to cut her foot off. So what projects are you guys working on? Are you doing a glue book too, or just following along? It's so fun. In another, I think 10 days is the next release. Now, because I'm in Canada, it takes a couple weeks to get the magazine, but it's well worth the wait, in my opinion. Okay, so that's that one. So we need a little piece for there. So why don't we use some of this? Just need to make sure we get a piece that is big enough. And if we go across the bottom there, and then are we gonna be able to, we'll use that back side. Oh, that's pretty. It's little polka dots. So we'll just cut down this line here. And something like this, you can just be creative. Just do your own thing. So what I thought we'll do is just make the backgrounds, and then we'll add some focal points. The other thing I wonder about is the length of the videos. Like, I think YouTube says you should have shorter videos. In my opinion, I kind of like longer ones, because I'm in my craft room like what I'm doing now, and I have a video on and I'm just listening and kind of following along or picking up a tip, and I don't really have to sit and watch every bit, because it's so short that I'm going to miss something if I look away, because sometimes I don't have time to sit and listen to a video like that. What do you guys think? I would like to know. Alright, so this one here, I think, it might just fit on there. So let's try that. These background papers are so pretty. So if I put that right in the corner, and then cut down there. We went camping here. I think I mentioned it in the last video, but we try to get camping once, like we would like to go as much as we could, but once or twice or 3 times a summer. But we're getting older now, and we found this last camping trip was just a bit too hard, lying on the air mattresses, and you know, I generally don't get up in the night to pee, but of course you're camping and you have to, so that just makes it a little bit worse. You might hear Chester in the background. He's my big orange cat, and as soon as I get working on something, he's here saying, "Who are you talking to?" I really like that. Oh, I could put it on that one. So we'll use that for this one. And we'll just cut that out. There, and right there. I'm also somebody who, if I wasn't on camera, for the sake of time and whatnot, I'm so anal in a way that I would probably try to cut this out on my trimmer so that all my edges were completely straight. I can't see my mark there. There it is. Yeah, so I think that working in junk journals and doing collage is a great way to try to just let go a little bit. I hope my head's not in the shot. Because that's a little bit crooked, but who's ever gonna know unless you look, you know, really closely. Sometimes it's, I don't know if I get cross-eyed or what, but sometimes I can't cut straight. I think it has to do maybe with my vision. For sure. And then once these stamps are made, that's all right. Like I said, we can add them to pages in our journal, or we can add them to other artwork that we do. So I think it's really great. We can use that butterfly as a focal point, so we'll set that aside. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We need 5 more background bits. Here's one. And I might speed this up when I actually go to edit, which is why it's interesting for me to know if you guys like the chatter and working along, or if you'd prefer to skip through this kind of tedious part and get on with it. All right, so that needs to be cut straight. I have a couple days off now, so with this weather and the fact that we're supposed to have rain off and on most of the week, I'm going to be very happy just sitting here working away on things. All right, and again that got off a little bit, but who's going to notice? Alright, so that's straight there. I just need to trim a little bit off here. We were trying to level the shed that last night Bobby was, and the humidity with these little jacks. One of the sides, the shed is on a tilt. Must have had some subsidence somewhere under the shed, and it's not pretty. Okay, we could use some of these other bits of birds, but I was kind of hoping to save that for another project. So, but I can use a part of that for that background. These are heavier card, so it's not just magazine paper for these ones, and that's often the way when there's a craft project involved. Here's my pencil. All right. And sometimes I don't like doing the actual project, but I like the papers or the items that they have just for other uses, because there's so many things you could do. Okay, so we've got that so far. I hope that's showing up. I'm looking in the monitor and it's looking a little bit faded. I have 2 spotlights and 2 overhead lights, so but it is a dreary day outside. Okay, so we just have 3 more. So this little one here, we can just use this. We'll just cut out a little square out of that. Alright. So we love getting to the beach too. Here where I live, there's quite a few beaches around me. We have a couple favorites. One is Queensland Beach, and we would go there as often as we could, but with this with the weather the way it's been, any days that I'm not working, it seems to be raining, and the days that it's sunny, I'm working and I just can't get there. And by evening, I'm usually too tired, or I'm working evenings. I'm a nurse, so I do shift work, which sometimes is very tiring for sure, mentally and physically. Okay, so we just need one more bit for there, and excuse me, I think we'll use a piece of this. So I needed at least that big. So we'll go straight across there. I do like the pastels with we'll use this side. Okay. I was just going to say I already used a piece of that, but we'll use this side, and we'll cut that down to there. Okay. There's all kinds of ways you could have done these stamps, of course. You could have tried to do watercolor or more like just stamping with some rubber stamps. But I like to use as much of the magazine as I can. Okay, so we've got those down. I'm just basically going to put a little bit of my Elmer's glue, which seems to have filled up the top. I'm only going to put a little bit down. I just need it to tack, and paper on paper tacks pretty good. So we'll get this one down. I'm going to have to bring it a little bit more towards me for a second. And that's right side up. Okay. And then we'll just keep on going. Keep on keeping on. I went to get groceries the other day, and oh my gosh, I can't believe how the prices have gone up. It just seems like everything has gone up, and I wonder sometimes if it's actually inflation that's putting it up, or opportunism, where stores know that people are expecting higher prices because of the media and what have you, and so they raise a price even though it doesn't need to be raised, or there's no prices haven't gone up to make that particular item, because it just seems like everything. For what my grocery budget is, I come out with 4 bags of groceries instead of 6 or 7, and that's with not buying things that I just think, well, I don't really need that this week, or I can do without it. Fruit's a big one, fruit and fresh vegetables. Gosh, I love grapes, and I'll generally each grocery day pick maybe 2 or 3 fruit of the fresh fruit. So I might get, I don't know, at this time of year, I love the nectarines, the grapes, apples. The Honeycrisp apples are nice. And oh my, a bag of grapes, which I didn't buy this time, it's over $10, $11 for just a bag of grapes. I mean, that's scandalous. And you just worry about, a lot of people who are worse off, and just what a struggle it must be for them. Our homeless situation here in Halifax is just, well, it's astounding. People have erected tents in any of the common or crown land because they just can't afford housing. Anyway, let's talk about happier things, because we can't put our heads in the sand for sure, but there comes a time when you just need to try not to focus on, to do what you can to help. I donate and try to help in some ways. My partner Bobby, he had made a meal, and took down to some of the homeless people that are in his area. So okay, so we've got our backgrounds, so those are looking cute. And so now for some focal points. So I thought on this one here, when we did the pocket part of the diary, this one here, the Amsterdam pocket, part of that had got cut off was this boat. So I thought, oh, well, that would be cool as a stamp. So I want to try to get that on there somehow without cutting it to pieces and making a pig's ear of it. So, right, so if we do that as our edge, and I want some of the background to show. What I think I might do, so I'm just going to cut that boat out. So we'll leave a little border of white around it so that we can, oh, that's going to be so cute. And I'm just going to come straight down there. That looks good. And then I want to keep some of these ziggy-zaggy lines. So I think I'll cut the boat out like so, and then we can stick that on, and then maybe we could, maybe this isn't going to work, but then with these little squiggly lines I could keep it for another project. Now, although we could turn that sideways and put that there as a little wave. No, I don't like it. Just like that. Okay, so I'm happy with that one for now. We might add more to it. And then I had found this little butterfly on one of the pages. I need smaller scissors. On one of the pages, so we can add that. Just cut a little border around it. And one of the tricks, which if you're a beginner to fussy cutting, is trying to keep this, for me, is trying to keep the scissors in one spot. So keep the scissors straight, but use this hand to actually move the object around. And sometimes it's, you get less hand problems. Okay, so there's that. I also had another butterfly that I found, and that was in the poster. And this is going to go pretty good because on the other side of the page where we're going to put this, there's already butterflies that look like this one. So it'll kind of draw maybe the two pages together in a way. And that's why I kind of wanted to use that blue background, because then it may kind of gel the two pages. I don't care if they don't look, you know, exactly the same, but it might just help. So this is a bigger butterfly. Maybe we'll put that on there, on that one. That would look okay. And then I had found this family, and it doesn't quite fit, but if I cut the end, Grandpa, and get as close to Grandpa as I can, we'll cut them out. Okay, I'm going to save the cat and the dog on the ends, because I thought what we could do is cut them out and put them kind of in the front as opposed to on the ends, and then we can include them too, because you can't not include the animals. As a matter of fact, in most instances, I'd rather include the animals than the people. I'm a very much an animal person. I've had a small partner I was with many years ago had a small hobby farm, and there were goats and rabbits and chickens and cows and all kinds of stuff, and I loved it. It became a little bit time consuming for sure. So I'm just going to make this grass a little bit wavy. Okay, so then we can put them on there, and then with little Fido here, we can cut him out and put him on. Okay, and then we can maybe nestle him there between the mom and the dad, and Mr. Kitty here, who looks just like my Chester. We'll call him Chessie. We'll put him on the end between Grandma and Grandpa. Okay, so we can put that there. I might cut him out a little bit better, so that it doesn't look like there's a lot of space around him and Grammy and Grampy. Oh, he's very tiny. Okay, so then we'll put him down there so that we got all our little animals in. And then when we get all this, when I get all this laid down, then I'll do some, put some cancellation postmarks on them. It's almost sad to do that, but I think it adds to the character in the long run. Okay, so we've got that one, that one, that one. So we need something skinny there. And I had found this flower, and I'm wondering if that would go there. I think it would. Just need to cut it out a little bit more. Or would that go there? So I had another flower that I think we could add there. Okay, so I'm just gonna fussy cut this a little bit more. And don't be afraid when you're cutting something out to cut something off. You know, if you have a little wisp sticking out, you don't necessarily have to include every bit of the image. You know, use your artistic license to, like that leaf there, if you can see, was cut off. So I'm just going to shape that into a better leaf. Because this was on the edge of a page. And sometimes I love the edge of the page because I'll just nestle it up against the edge of the page of what I'm working on. But in this instance, we don't want an edge. Or we could have put the edge right along there, but wanted to take out some of this white space so you can see the background a little bit. And I know we're going to have to cut probably the length off. That's okay. And there we go. Oh, now we'll come up here, do a little bit here. And I haven't really found images for the other ones, I don't think. So that can go there. And, oh, I guess we're probably going to cut the leaves right off. Or does that work? Does that work? I think so. And then this one here, the background is quite white. I was gonna turn that around. But I glued it down. Too bad, so sad. So yeah, it's soon time for my coffee. I get up at 5:30. I couldn't sleep. Chester was crying. So I got up and opened up the doors and windows to let some cool air in for right now before it gets even hotter and muggier. And then I'll be trying out the new air conditioner. I prefer to have the windows open for fresh air, but I just have to resign myself to the fact that some days you're just going to have to close up the house and use the air conditioner, which I've never really had to do and for a long, long time. When I was little, we lived in Chicago, and I just remember being at my grandmother's house and sitting on her lap on those sultry, humid evenings with the thunderstorms ripping, and she'd have the air conditioner on in the living room, in the window, and she'd also have the window open and the door open of the house, because the door to the house opened in, she lived in a townhouse, kind of opened into the living room. So she'd have the door, the screen door open, and a fan, a great big fan going, and an air conditioner. And I was too little at the time to realize that's kind of defeating the purpose, to have the air conditioner on and then the doors open. But I think she probably felt the same way that I did about having, you know, everything shut up. And she liked to listen to the thunder. And I think that's why I like thunder today, is because she, you know, when I would stay there, I'd sit on her lap and we'd watch the lightning and the thunder. And, you know, gratefully, thankfully, we never, you know, I never experienced any kind of disasters as far as that went. Okay, so I'm going to go away and I'm going to come back and I'm going to find a few more images and I'll glue everything down and then we'll continue on. Okay, so I'll be right back. Okay, everyone, I've gone away and I've completed the stamps. So I put the background images down, the background papers down, and then just found various images. This was one of the fans in one of the exercises, some strawberries, some flowers. This is just a picture of the bigger poster that came in that magazine, because with every magazine you get a poster as well, and then just some cut out butterflies. So I did cut them out, as you can see, and for these ones here I use the pinking shears. I also have some deco scissors, which are basically the same pattern, but I didn't really like how they came out as much as when I just used the scissors and just cut them out, just a straight cut. I kind of like how that looks better. I have put down my protector sheet. This is a Ranger. I'm not exactly sure what it's called, craft mat, I guess. It's not that big, but it's big enough that if I'm going to do some stamping or gluing, that it's perfect because you can wipe it off. I often sometimes use my glass mat too. As a matter of fact, unless I'm filming, I usually always have my glass mat on my surface. So what I thought that we would do next is just do some stamping. So I'm just using my Ranger archival ink. This pad has come over with the arc. It's that old. And I keep replenishing it, sorry if my head gets in the way, with a re-inker. And that's what's good about this pad, is you can just keep re-inking it. The stamps that I'm going to use are just random stamps that I had. Most of them came from, there's a little pad of stamps that I got, and I think I must have picked it up on, I don't know, AliExpress or somewhere like that, and it's one sheet and then you just cut them all out. But they have some really nice little stamps. So this one here I think is just precious. So I'm not going to stamp this one up. I think I'll just keep that for just to see if I want to stamp on it later, I can. So we'll just put that off to the side. And the same with this little boat. I just loved how that turned out. So I'm just going to put those off to the side. And then I'm going to, oops, going to make a mess here. I think I dropped one of my stamps. Okay, it took a minute, but I found the rubber stamp that fell down. So I'm just going to go along. I got this little stamp, so I thought I would match it up with something similar in size, like maybe this one. So we'll see what this looks like. I generally will stamp off, so I've got this stamp off sheet just beside me here. And what that does is it just allows me to look and see if the stamp is making a clear image. Do I need to re-ink it? And then it also just makes it so that on a second generation stamp, it's just not going to be as vibrant, and you don't want it to be that vibrant. So I think that's kind of nice. So we can use that. And then what I use for cleaning off my stamps is just some generic baby wipes that I just keep under my desk here. I have a little shelf under my desk, and then I just set that off to the side. So I'm just going to do that now. Okay, because I might not use that one again. So that's this one. We'll set that off to the side. And then I had another little square one, this one here, which I quite liked. And it doesn't have any real text on it, so you can just use that one. And I like how that turned out as well. And I think I have a bigger one that would fit this image. Or maybe that one would be off, skewed off. What else do I have? I'll just use this one. So this one says 50-cent stamp. So I think I'll just stick it on the middle of that one. Ooh, that was quite dark. Oh well. And I think I'm okay with that. And then for this one here, I'm going to just use some wavy cancellation marks just to add to that, and then maybe a little post stamp. This one here says New Orleans, and then I'm pretty good with that one. So I'll set that aside. That's finished. And then I'll do the same with the flower stamp. I've got a little number here, so I think I'll just stick that. Those have numbers. Maybe I'll put a little number on this one. Little number in the corner, April 5th, 1940. And I think I'll put a little number on that one too. So I like that. And then this cancellation says love. Never have too much love. So maybe we'll cancel out that butterfly with the love. And maybe that one there too. Okay, and then I think I'm done with that one. And we have, this one here has a cancellation waves, but it has the year 1918. So I think maybe I'll use that there. And maybe that one there. And I think I'm done with that one. And with this flamenco, I think she's a flamenco, we'll put that, and then we'll put a little cancellation circle on her. And this little strawberry, I've got another number one, and that's better. And then I think I will put that one there. This one here is, going to be quite dark. But hey, you never know when you're going to want a dark one. And then with this little flower, I'm going to stamp that off. And I don't think it matters if what's upside or downside. So, and I think I will put a little number on that one. In this bottom corner, which I think is good. This one here, this little cancellation is a little, it says positive postage, and it has a little heart. So put that one on there. I think that's good for that. I think I'm done with that one too. And I think I'll put the positive heart on this guy over the flower. And I do like the message, so I'm going to put that maybe up there, which is good. And I think I'll put that number bar. So the number bar, a couple of these stamps I have taken out of the Tim Holtz, I think it's Correspondence. Correspondence from the Stampers Anonymous. So that's good. Right, and then I just think I might put some little waves just up, coming off of that stamp there, so that looks all right. And I need a little circle there. So this one here says, I don't know what it says, Genoa, I think it says. Oh, that's the love one, love from Genoa. That's okay. So we'll stick that on there. And then that one, I think I'm finished with that. So I think we're finished with the stamping for now. So we'll put that aside, wipe these off, and I'll just put them off the table. I have another little table beside this table for storage stuff. And we'll get rid of that. Okay. So there's our stamps. So the next thing I thought we would do is make a little organizer or holder, whatever you want to call it, on this side with the blue. So to adhere this down, this is my front page, and it's quite stable. It came from the back of one of the covers, and they are quite hard. So I'm just going to stick it on the back, and I'm going to do that with some Fabri-Tac. this is good glue for if you're going to use paper. It's a silicone base, so it doesn't have water, and water is what is in the PVA glue that causes your pages to kind of warp or bubble. So the Fabri-Tac Beacons also does, excuse my head if it got in the way, also does a 3-in-1. And you may have heard from this, that this is kind of in North America, one of our go-tos. And I think it equates a little bit with collage in the UK. I'm not sure if the 3-in-1 actually does fabric and lace and leather, because I generally use this on paper, but I haven't opened this one yet. And the Fabri-Tac you can use on paper and other materials. So I'm just going to use a little bit of the Fabri-Tac. I don't need to weld this down. There's not going to be anything really heavy on this page, just the stamps, which are, you know, not that heavy. So I just basically want to get the edges all down good, and a little bit through the middle, so it doesn't kind of heave up in the middle. So just a couple lines, and it looks like I'm putting a lot on, but my nib is very small, so it doesn't put a whole lot down at once. So I'm just gonna stick this, make sure it's the right way up. It is. And I'm gonna start by just putting that in the crease and then pulling it out to the edge. And I've got it cut pretty much to size. There is a little bit on the bottom which I'm going to cut off. But other than that, I think that looks fine. And then for the organizer, I've used a cereal box liner, because that's kind of what it felt like in the book that I showed you earlier. And what I did ahead of time already is I put some little lines already, which I can't see that well. So there's 1, 2, 3, and there's my 4th line down there. It's just kind of hard to see. Make sure I got it the right way. That's right side up. I think I'll put that in again because I think I got it upside down. So I just measured, there's my center line there, and I just measured, this is 8.5, so it's just 4 1/4 makes your middle line. So there's my 4 1/4, and then I just went at 2 and at 4, and then at 2 and did it 2, yeah, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I've got my line there, and then I just need my bottom line, I guess. So I really love this ruler. It's a Tim Holtz ruler, but it allows you to find your center, but it also allows you to get a straight line because you can use the guides, the grid on it to make a straight line. Okay, so we did that, and then I cut this out of the cereal box, and I made these 1.5 inches, and then it's enough to cover the page. I did put some score tape on the back. I really liked the score tape. I could have used the Fabri-Tac, and I think it would have held this kind of waxy paper, and I'm not exactly sure the score tape is going to hold. But it is a fantastic tape, and I'm also going to tape down the sides, or put a border on the sides, so I think it'll work out fine. So I'm just going to put that, I think I'll start on this edge. I'm going to put that down on the edge, and then use the line that I drew as a guide. Okay, so there's the first one, and with these cereal, with this liner, I didn't put it under an iron or nothing like that because I was afraid the plastic would melt, but I did try to kind of straighten it out. I used a bone folder to sort of press it out, and tried to get a lot of the wrinkles out. But the type of material you're going to have We're going to have wrinkles. And then this is our third one. So we'll get this one down on that line there. Okay, so there's 3, and then there's 4. All right, so then to make my border, I went back to the magazine and just had a look around at some of the paper. I hope that's right. Oh gosh, I had this nightmare that it was upside down, but it's good. Just going to cut that off so it doesn't stick to things. So we'll just do a trim there, and there, and then we'll trim that off, and that. Okay. Right, so there's our right side up. And then I just went back to the magazine and I found just some bits that I thought would be good as a border. So on the page that's going to be opposite this is part of that poster that had come in issue 3. So this, these little strips here came from another piece of that poster. So it does kind of match up some of the hearts and the background. So I thought that that would help it kind of have the same maybe tone, or just draw this side into this side, and when we put it in later we can see that. And then I made a few little strips just to go on the bottom, just to hide that a little bit of that score tape. You really didn't need to have this, but I just kind of thought it would add just a little bit extra. So I thought that you could put that down next, and then have the side borders on. And what the side borders will do is kind of help keep this down as well. So I'm just going to start right there and hope that I can get these straight. And then I think that will just add a little, I don't know, a little something something to the to this little page. And then if you had other little embellishments that we make later on, and we want to have a little, we want to keep them in the journal so that we can pull the pieces off later and use them on the pages, then we have a great little way to organize our stuff. And yeah, so we'll get that out of the way, and then we'll trim off these bits. Guess that one there didn't have a bit to trim off. Okay, and we can fix that up better later. So then those are down. Just press those down a little bit. And then, so for the outside edges, that's where I thought these would look pretty good on the outside. So we'll try to get these stuck down. And I made these, I might have made one of these a little bit too short, but hey ho, life in the fast lane. Okay, and then we'll, look at that. So we'll get that down. And the good thing about this is that there's parts of the strip that's not on the kind of the waxy liner, and so it should help to stick that down. And then here's the last one, and we'll stick that right on the edge there. And I start from the bottom and go up, because that way I'm pulling the liners up instead of kind of catching them and pulling them down. The thing about the score tape is that once it's down, it's down. So if you don't like where the placement is, then, oh, I knew that I was missing something. See, that score tape, it bent over, and I tore up that side of the page. But no worries, because I can take an alcohol marker, or you know, I can even make, I can hide that in some way. So I'm not too upset with that. Plus, it's a journal, and I've got to get away from trying to make everything. See, just there, I don't know if I was off screen, but the thing bent over. Okay, so we've got our setup, and then we'll just take our stamps and just put them in. And then later on, when we have little projects that we want to add maybe a stamp to, then we can, and you can do this kind of thing. It's not new. I mean, the other, you know, there's lots of people who've done little organizers like that. But yeah, so if we go back to our page and we get this stuck back in to our signature. And I had taken the little tags out of there just so that we could play with it. Then, so then it would look like there's our front page, and then we turn it over, and there's the next pages. And we're going along dum-de-dum, and we're working on a project, and we think, oh goodness, maybe I could put a stamp there. So just go back to our page, and maybe there's one, and maybe there's not. Let's see. Yeah, that's kind of cute. Why not? So I'm just, for this, Elmer's glue is fine. So we can stick this down. And maybe I'll make more, and or maybe some clusters we can make, and then stick them in the in our little holder. So that's it for today. I don't think I'm forgetting anything, but thanks for joining me. If you like this, please give me a like. I love your comments, so you know, please leave a comment. If you haven't subscribed, I would love for you to subscribe. I just think that's so great for those of you who've already subscribed, and I look forward to new subscribers. So till next week, stay safe, and bye for now.